Hi there, dance studio owners, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Transform My Dance Studio podcast with CEO and founder of the Dance Studio Owners Association, Clint Salter. Before we get started, here at the Dance Studio Owners Association, we have an exciting free training that we believe is a must-have for every studio owner. It's our brand new Dance Studio Revive and Rebound workshop. And during this free 90-minute live workshop, Clint is going to cover everything he teaches our highest level inner circle members about how to dramatically increase studio growth in the next 12 months, even in this new normal. Make sure to register at www.dsoa.com/revive. That's www.dsoa.com/REVIVE. Everyone who attends the training live is going to get our 10 ways to attract students in 10 days guide. But 3 lucky attendees are also going to win a 30-minute one-on-one coaching session with one of our Inner Circle Studio Growth coaches. The link again to register is dsoa.com/revive. We hope you enjoy today's episode, and we look forward to seeing you inside our free Studio Revive and Rebound workshop.
Hi there. How you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing good. How's the studio? How are things going after being back from the retreat?
It was a little crazy. I mean, being away is always a little crazy. And then we went right into a performance. Okay. So I jumped right into Tech Week and a weekend of performances and had a week to let that settle down and then went right into an audition. So,
okay. Yeah, things are moving and happening. So how can I help you today?
Well, my biggest concern has been my budget.
Yeah.
I know from the beginning, when I joined the Inner Circle 2 years ago, that was number one. You said, get your budget. So I watched all the classes. I downloaded all the tools. I reviewed everything. I mean, I'm a math person. I get it.
Yeah.
But something is holding me back, and I can't really explain exactly what it is. I sit down to do it. I even had it all mapped out. I had all my numbers, and then I got lost in the process, which I tend to do, and overthought the whole thing. It became a daunting experience, and so I stopped, and that's where that lives right now.
Yeah. So tell me, what is the goal of putting the budget in place? Like, what are you trying to achieve?
Well, I would like to have money in the bank. I would like to have a comfort level. And I kind of had an epiphany today as I was driving to work. I think I've set myself up over the last 25 years to live month to month, both personally and professionally. And somewhere back in my 20-year-old brain, when I started this whole madness, I decided that it was crazy to make money because then I would owe money to the government. And so I've had that mindset that if I just spend it all, then I don't have to pay taxes. So now I'm to the point where I've got 4 kids and putting them through college, and I'm living comfortably. It's not that I'm, in major trauma here, but
right.
I'm paying cash for college, and so I figure it out. Every month I figure it out. But I don't want to live like that. I would like to, I'd like to have a comfort zone. So that is really my goal, is to have a budget that is easy to put together, that it isn't a million different adjustments every single month, and know that I'm making enough to put some away and be comfortable. That's where I want to be.
Yeah, totally. And so I think you're probably overthinking and overcomplicating the whole budget piece. Just on one thing that you said, and I see a lot of people talking about I don't want to pay tax, so I'm going to spend, I need to spend as much as I can by the end of the year, so I don't need to pay tax. I mean, tax is such a privilege to pay. Well, that's how I view it. I mean, I don't want to pay more tax than anyone else. But I mean, tax is such a privilege, and I get joy from seeing that tax bill go up every year because it means that we're doing better. The issue is when you've got, you're doing better, your tax bill goes up and you don't have the money in the bank, right? Which is what a lot of studio owners that I've chatted to, are afraid of, like, oh, the scary tax bill, because, their P&L might show that they've had some profit, but like there's nothing sitting in the bank account. And so it's kind of looking at that. So like easy budget, like 101 budget, which you really, which I think everyone should just do, because it's not tricky, right? And you've seen the classes in IC, we have kind of basic stuff and we have more complicated versions of like putting a budget together. But what I would do and how I would start is I would pull your P&L from last year or last season, however you work, and just let me know, does your P&L, are your expenses like broken out in your P&L? Like, so you have like marketing and insurance and rent and admin wages and all of that stuff's broken out. So that's perfect, because essentially what you can do is run a report. And you can firstly just do, are you running your finances January to December?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So super easy. So we can just look at it as years. So 2019, run your P&L, print out that report. 2018, run your P&L, do that report. 2017, run your P&L for the full year. And what you want to do is look at each of your expense line items across the 3 years. So let's say you have a line item for marketing, and in 2017 you spent $5,000 on marketing. Then the next year you spent $15,000 on marketing, and the next year you spent $20,000 on marketing, right? Let's just say that those were the numbers. Well, you can see that you're trending at about $5,000 additionally, every single year. And then that will line up potentially, hopefully, with the growth of your business, right? So you should be able to see, depending on where the business is tracking, but let's say it's, you've had growth, which you have, and so the numbers are tracking up, you should see a correlation with some expenses increasing because the business has grown, right? So when you've got more students and you're doing more classes, your wage bill for your teachers is going to grow. If you were teaching 15 hours a week and now you're teaching 5 hours a week, that also increases your wage bill. If you were doing your bookkeeping and now someone else is doing your bookkeeping, your expenses are going to grow. And so that's why I like looking at what you've spent over the last 3 years, because it's going to show you some patterns. And then there's going to be some things that will stay pretty similar. It could be your insurance premiums or the music licensing fees that you pay. Maybe you've got a great landlord, so your rent hasn't increased too much. So, whatever that is, you will see some things that are pretty consistent. And then you will see different things that go up and down across the 3 years. Things that might trend down are things where you've implemented software, right? So it might have removed a piece of of your expense because you've implemented some software. So just to kind of lay it out so you can get a visual of what it looks like. And then from there, you can do a really easy version of like, this is what we did last year, with our expenses, with the growth that you want to achieve, right? So let's say you want a 5 or a 10% growth in the business. You can either keep your expenses the same, which is tricky, or you can simply increase them by 5 to 10%. This is like the really easy way of just creating a budget. Because here's the thing, a budget is just something that hopefully holds us accountable to our spending, right? And also if we've got our projections in our budget of goals, income that we think we're going to reach, we can align our 90-day goals to those financial goals that we have in place. Does that make sense?
It does. And I guess I kind of do that already because I do get into QuickBooks pretty much every day and I accept all the transactions. So I know where my Amazon money is going. And I've gotten really good about making sure that every single, at least every week, I'm putting those numbers to something. So
right, you're reconciling them. Yeah.
Right. And my bookkeeper takes care of that, the bank stuff. So I kind of know where my money's going, but I would like to see better profit. And I'm trying to implement profit first, but I'm also doing it in a little bit more of a simplistic way, I guess. I haven't followed through with the full program yet. Just for, because I'm always going. And I guess that's another issue is, as a studio owner, I'm constantly on the go. I'm, at the studio, and I've got kids, and I've got, the whole 9 yards. So how do you stop to make these things happen?
Sure. Let's touch on profitability first. So the easiest thing, because that's what I was trying to get at. Like, what's the reasoning around the budget? And so the reasoning around it is because you want more profit. Right. So, but then you agonize over doing the budget. So you don't do that. And then, just becomes this vicious cycle. So I think what you're doing currently is good. Don't feel the pressure of having to put this big budget together. If you're managing your expenses and you're kind of looking at where your expenses are at and ensuring you're not blowing out and buying too much stuff on Amazon or taking too many Ubers or whatever, that's good. We've got budget control there, and that's always what we're looking for. We're not blowing out our costumes, we're not blowing out our wage bills, those types of things. From a profitability standpoint, in your P&L, you've got broken out your revenue streams. What you want to look at is your top 3 profit centers in your business. Because the mistake is people this stuff over here is not making me money. Let's try and make more money out of these things, where the goal is to generate more profit from what is already generating you a good amount of profit. So if profit is an issue, or something, not an issue, but something that you want to have more of, that's always the best place to find it, is doubling down on the things that are working and generating more of that, versus the other things that you might be offering that are really not adding monetary value, but probably also not much value in any other way as well. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
It does. And I think a part of our problem is that I like to make everybody happy. So I keep adding these classes, and then the classes aren't really being profitable. And I'm to the point now where I just need to look at the schedule and cut some hours and, just increase enrollment in the classes that are doing well.
Yeah.
We have some that are just, through the roof, and then others that are just.
Exactly. And you don't need to keep, opening classes and trying to make people happy, because what makes people happy is just an incredible experience. And there's, my favorite saying of less but better, better, not bigger. We just want to focus on those things that really make an impact to the business, but also to the families that, that we serve in the studio. And so looking at, okay, well, those 3 classes have 3 or 4 kids in them. Could we combine them? Or could we do a once a month class where every Saturday from, 10 to 11:30, we do this super dance class where it's 90 minutes. They just come for 90 minutes and they do X, Y, Z, right? It's getting creative around class, structure of class and space, because people often say, well, I have 7 studios, so I want to fill them. I'm that is not the best way to run a profitable dance studio. You've got to build up. You've got to look at what classes are full. What do people want? What do your customers want to come to? Do more of those classes, then get those people into more classes. My favorite thing is, once you've got them in a class, get them into 2 classes or 3 classes. And then look at where else your customers are spending money in their kind of regular lives, and seeing how you can be a part of that, as well. And so looking at how can you generate more value to your customers that in turn increases the revenue and therefore the profit that comes into the business. Mm-hmm. Because as creatives, we like to create. And that is a great skill set, but it's also a skill set that needs to be heavily monitored when you are a CEO of a company. I was saying it on an earlier call. I was like, running a successful business is very boring. And the reason that most people kind of, start something, stop something, start something, stop something, or blow it up, start something, blow it up so that there's drama and chaos, and is because it stops being exciting. And so we create more stuff because we want to feel more excited. Whereas the key is finding the innovation in what we're already doing, so that we can channel that creativity into like, okay, how can we make this better? How can we make this curriculum better? How can we make our teachers better? And so building the excitement into that versus just starting new stuff for the sake of starting new stuff.
Right. No, and I'm learning how to.
Oh, you are. I mean, I still remember our first call. I remember our first call that we had. This is a very different Rhonda that I'm chatting to today.
Yeah, for sure. And I've let go a lot, and that's good. I still tend to pull out the vacuum sometimes, and I'm like, you know what? I have people that do this. I can stop right now.
Yeah, totally. And I think also, around just like finding the time for things, I posted, I don't know if you saw the video I posted in the Inner Circle this morning, around my example of, we had some boxes and some things that were delivered from Vegas, from our Vegas retreat to my house, to my apartment. And so they need to be taken to a storage unit. And, so the plan was for one of my team members to come to my apartment, for me to give them the stuff, and which meant that I would have to take the boxes downstairs. I'd have to get the trolley to put the boxes on, and it would take me maybe 30 to 40 minutes to coordinate all of that. And I said to my team yesterday, I was like, I am not doing that. Like, I know this might sound crazy to you, but I am not wasting 40 minutes taking boxes out of my apartment. Find someone on TaskRabbit, we'll pay them like $50 or $100. I'll open the door, but that's all I want to do, because 40 minutes is so valuable. So it's really, it's being very protective consistently of your time, right? So that's the first thing, because we sometimes can get caught in the, oh, well, it's faster if I can do that. If I do that, well, I'll just do that thing, or I'll just take the kids here, or, it's that piece. And so it's really being protective of your time and ensuring that, every minute is utilized in the way that you want to utilize it. So that means that we have time to rest, and we have time to be completely present with our family, and we have time to do deep work that's going to help us grow our business and to mentor our team members. But every minute, we're very intentional about how we're using the time. Does that kind of?
Yeah, because I do tend to take on too much. And of course, right now I'm in the middle of a move. You can't tell because I've moved very little, but we close in 2 weeks and I got to be out of this house. So I've got to do it. I've got to spend time doing that, which means I'm probably going to take 2 weeks off of teaching. I just have to.
Yeah, but the other thing is like, what's the value of like bringing someone in to like move your place and allowing someone to come in, and I know you're like, well, I've got my stuff here and there and I don't want people touching my stuff and I want to know what box it's in. Yeah. But there are phenomenal movers that could, did it for me when I moved recently, like come in, pack everything up, and like, you're like, I'm just like standing there going, thank you, like as I'm working on the laptop. Right. So it's always just challenging yourself on the notion of, do I need to do this? Do I need to do this? Do I need to do this? And my friends often laugh because I'm like, my life is all about like frictionless living. And we learn in pain. So I'm not against pain and feeling pain, but I'm very much around removing friction from things so that I can do the things that bring me joy, that help grow our business, that can deliver to our members, where I can spend time with my partner and my friends and my family. I'm very much around those types of activities. And so just challenge yourself, because I would say, hey, if you want to be in the dance studio and still teach those classes, like awesome. Or maybe you want to like take 2 weeks off and like go away for 2 days where your house gets packed up and you don't have to think about it, and you can go get a massage or something, right? But I know you're sitting there like internally probably dying, but challenge yourself on these things that we've always done, because a lot of, especially around doing an activity, a lot of it can come from childhood of like maybe, like parents saying like, you've got to do this, you've got to do the laundry, you've got to wash up the dishes, like you've got to cook the food. Well, no, I can get the food delivered and I have a dishwasher, right. And I have someone that comes and cleans my house and washes the sheets on my bed every week. I mean, it's really, and it's challenging to kind of move past things, especially if they're ingrained in like who we are and how we grew up.
Right.
Because asking for help is so hard for a lot of people.
Yeah. And that's definitely me to a T. I do have a hard time asking, because then I'm always told, well, you got to ask. Well, then sometimes I ask and then it doesn't get done. And then I'm through the roof. So it's like, oh, might as well have just done it. And so that's what I am. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I'm trying to let go of a little bit, but at the same time, we've been in this house for 17 years and I've got to get rid of stuff. So I'm throwing away everything. I literally gave away my dishes this week.
Good for you.
Yeah. So they're gone. We're eating on plastic right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me what, like we've talked about a couple of things, obviously like the budget, the profitability, kind of the time piece. I mean, what are going to be like your 3 action steps from our conversation?
Well, for sure, I'm going to print out my P&L. I've looked at it a couple of times, but I haven't really sat down with it. So that it's on my list to do. I mean, it really is. And I want to stick to that. And we have shifted how our revenue comes in over the last couple of years. And, where years ago I used to put $2,000 a month into a phone book ad. Now I'm putting, $1,000 into Facebook ads. And I'm comfortable sitting down, and this morning I made a Facebook ad. It took me 10 minutes. It's easy to do. I can do that now. So I'm going to look at where my expenses are, and I know my wages have increased a lot for my employees. So my payroll, I need to kind of funnel that down a little bit. So that's going to be one thing. And I've been working on time blocking. I did download a couple of timer apps. So I've been planting trees with my Flora app, and that is fun. And what else? So profit, I'm just going to have to make sure that I have a better mindset on making money. It was something that came to me today. I'm like, this is my limiting belief that I can't make money, because if I make money, then I owe money. And I was thinking exactly what you said. I bless the government because the government keeps me safe. And so my tax money goes to that. So it's just a different mindset. And I had another epiphany that, my mother has always said, oh, well, those rich people. So she's always putting this thing about rich people in my head. So, maybe I don't want to be rich, but I do. I want money. So
yes. And you deserve it. And that's the thing, like you're doing such important work in the world, like you deserve that money.
Right. And it's okay to charge for what you do if you do what you love and people love what you do. So
yeah, it's just an exchange of value. That's all it is. That's all it is. Good. This is good. Good questions, good conversation. And please just keep me posted in the group. And if you need anything, just reach out.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Awesome, Rhonda. Great to talk to you as always.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode of The Dance Studio Doctor, powered by the Transform My Dance Studio podcast. Don't forget to join our free Dance Studio Revive and Rebound workshop at dsoa.com/revive. This is the only workshop that will leave you with a shorter to-do list than when you came in. We hope to see you there and look forward to having you join us next week for a brand new episode of The Dance Studio Doctor.